You all to see anti-blackness that presents, or the anti-blackness that presents when we try to stand up for ourselves as black people and our culture, and we try to, set forth certain guidelines and bylaws and things like that. We don't have the right to do that as black people because we are not respected. When you're not respected, nobody cares about your boundaries. Nobody cares about respecting you. If you notice, like it's like you're in a group of friends and hold on, you guys. Okay, so anyway, this post is, me being a black person and letting people know that I don't appreciate band lobbing, which is the name of the platform, while black, because you get suspended for nothing. You get, you go through the same black treatment. You go through all of these things for nothing, or simply because you are black and people want to put you through them. And then everyone else gets not only better treatment, but they also get to taunt you for the bad treatment that you get. And what I was saying earlier, before fate wanted to stop me from making that analogy, is it's like that friend in the group of people who are, young people who don't really care about each other. And maybe there are one or two friends who actually care, like friends should care about each other. But like for the most part, it's just a gang of young people who have happened to come across each other and, you know, uh, want to do crazy, outrageous things together. So, and have as much fun as they can in their teen years. So, it's like that one person in the friend group who is not respected. They're kind of picked on by the rest of the people in the group. And no one cares about any, certain things will happen and they'll always be called jokes or pranks or something. So, like, they'll always be talking about you whenever the jokes come out. If they forget to buy someone food, or to get someone's food at the restaurant, then it's going to be your food. You know what I'm saying? If say everybody's chipping in and like paying for food or something, and then we forget to get the specific pizza that you wanted or whatever the case was. Out of the three different pieces that we got, or five pizzas. Um, this person is always the one convenience. It's always the one who is expected to, be the, responsible one, or the whatever one, or the, one who takes the brunt of whatever, and you seem to not have boundaries. You seem to, nothing is respected with you, you know. People who have been that person or seen that person in a friend group, how, the black experience to a certain extent. Because that's what it is. Just put it in a racial context. Like, people don't respect us, so they excuse all of these other things that they do to us, and they call them pranks, or they call them, instead of calling them pranks like you would in a friend group, they will call them, just assume that they're par for the course, or dub them par for the course, necessary, basically, a way of life for this particular situation. And it's not acceptable. So when we push back against, being referred to as N-words, or people being able to even use that word when they, especially since they're dabbling and dipping in our culture when doing so, that's why they want to use it so badly, because they want to be us. They can't come up with words. They can't fucking, use things that identify themselves, that they feel, brotherly and sisterly about. Like, they can't do all of those things. They have to copy everything that we do, you know? That's why all of our genres are the ones that are in existence. That's why all of our things that we do are always so much better, profitable, so much more profitable and better marketed when they are on a non-black person. So this post was just me letting people know, hey, I don't like how black people are treated, and some of the things that I just said, some other things, and mainly as well that, I'm sick of people using the N-word. And I was talking about the story of this Latina who tried to convince me to let her use the N-word. And I just was so taken aback by the whole situation. It was a very traumatic situation that happened years ago with a woman who I, thought I was cool with. So this person, who is actually a person who goes by the name of Smoke7777 or something like that, we did music together, and we did one song together, and I liked it a lot. And then when we tried to do something else, I didn't like it. And ever since then, they kind of, seem to have an issue with me. And they were like deleting me, or following me and unfollowing me, following me and unfollowing me. And I just got to the point at which I was like, okay, forget it. So I blocked them, because I was like, I'm sick of seeing you follow me and unfollow me. So Then months later, maybe a year later, they were like, "Oh, you blocked me, this, that, and the third," and I let them know why. Because I have no problem doing that, and I usually like to do that initially before I block you. So I let her know, it's because of the whole follow situation. I said, there's a few other things as well. This woman basically like tried to get me to take her side in a situation when I first met her with this other woman, and I forget what the other woman's name is, but she's very beloved throughout the lab, and she is unfortunately no longer with us. She died soon after the whole spat that she had with this woman, and not long after I had made up with her and apologized for even partially taking the other woman's side. So I thought it was a matter of racism. And I thought that, old girl was being racist to Smoke. Because Smoke is the one who was claiming that she was from Africa and all this other stuff. Now, to me, she looked like a straight up Latino. But, she's claiming from Africa, all this other stuff, whatever. She was the one who was, a person who was not white. And I figured, okay, well, if you're claiming that this woman is, being racist toward you or whatever the case may be, then, um, and I've had a little bit of history with you, and I have actually worked with you, and I haven't worked with this other person. So long story short, I ended up taking the woman's side, this woman here, and soon after I realized that she was on some bullshit and that I had made the wrong choice, and I went back to old girl and I apologized, and she passed not too long after she accepted my apology and said that she knew that I would always come around. And she said there was just something about my energy that she always liked, and she knew that I would come around to the truth. So I really appreciated that, and it really did leave a mark on my soul. But this woman left a whole bunch of comments. I deleted them because this is my post, and I'm not going to sit up here. I know people love to gang up on me, and as soon as someone sees a comment that they feel like they can relate to, not even that they can relate to, as soon as someone sees a comment that is talking about me negatively in any way, they're going to jump on that. And then, because I don't have as much of a following, it's a little difficult to balance that out. So it'd be easier for me to just be like, okay, to control, the post to my or the comments to my post. But this person basically went around. I should just bring up the. Let me see if I can. The pictures of it, but well, I think some of the pictures are in my phone, so I'm gonna have to do that later. But she basically went in and started talking about how, you all call each other this word all the time, so you don't have anything to say about it. The same argument that everyone gives. And, just very dismissive of everything that we're saying. We don't have a culture that we can participate in, and other people are, supposed to just observe. We don't have this, we don't have that. There's nothing that's off limits to other people outside of our culture that would be indefensible and racist. We just have to accept it. And that's what it is. Everyone believes that we need to accept BS. Let these people show you how much they don't like you. Everyone believes that we need to accept BS. And they try to convince you to accept BS. Meanwhile, they don't accept BS. This woman got mad, and one of her comments was that I was discriminating against her because I isolated an Indian. Now, number one, why you're calling yourself Indian, and I'm fairly certain you mean Native American, it seems like a part of white supremacy itself, and a part of words that we should or shouldn't be using ourselves. But I'm not judging you automatically and arguing with you about that. You know what I'm saying? Until you come to me trying to argue with me about my culture. But I'm not automatically saying, oh, when you identify as Indian, oh, okay, well, fuck you hoes, and you're dumb, and, you're whitewashed. I'm not saying that to you. I'm respecting you and your culture. If you want to be known as an Indian, then that's who you want to be known as, even though Indians already exist in Asia. But you can't respect that there's a word that was used to dehumanize us and still is to this day. And that no one else should be able to say that word. It's just insane to me. It's insane. It's just this kind of obtuseness, being obtuse, going out of your way to be difficult and unreasonable. This kind of obtuseness is not defensible. It's not defensible. It just shows that you don't care about black people and that you actually, the only care that you have for black people is negative. You want black people to go through negative things. That's what that says to me, because you can't tell me that you're arguing with somebody over them being called a word that was literally used to dehumanize their entire race of people and enslave them. Used to normalize their state in enslavement. You cannot sit here and tell me that you are arguing for the use of that word by other people against them. There's no way that that has any context that makes sense. If a culture of people has a word that is off limits that was literally used to racially discriminate against them, and they ask you, no matter what they do with that word, they ask you to leave it alone, why are you not able to leave it alone? To me, that shows that you have disrespect and contempt for that group of people. Because any group of people who I respect, if I go to China and I know that Chinese people, call it, some of the people in the slums and all these other places, they, use certain language about Chinese to describe Chinese people and their brothers and sisters that is not super appropriate or formal. I'm not going over to China and using that against people or using it with people and then thinking that that's okay. I'm not going to do that. There are words that Latin people, Latinos, call each other all the time. Some are offensive, some are just like, endearment, terms of endearment, strictly. And I don't use those. We don't use those. And we know a lot of them. It's not that we don't know them. It's because we have respect for their culture. So it's like, but the only difference between that, because you all love to use this excuse of, oh, well, you use it in your music and whatever. Well, what about that? Oh, but Latinos, it's different. Why? Because they're Latino and we're black. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. The only other difference is that our music is more popular than Latin music. And why is that? Number one, that's not our fault. We shouldn't be punished for that. And number two, so you all being nosy and unable to, unoriginal and all this other shit, unable to create your own things that are just as entertaining. You all being dipping and dabbling in our culture and our genre and our music, so much so that you've got your heads up our up our asses and you can literally see our innards. So now you're blaming us for why you were talking about, describing the inside of our fucking body, our internal organs and shit. Bitch, you stuck your head up our asses. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me that I don't have the right to be feel defiled and to be outraged that you're describing my innards because you stuck your head up my ass. Get your head out my ass, and then maybe you won't have to worry about being persecuted for the things that you're describing that you see. You wouldn't see them if you would get out of people's business. Booty head. So it's just ridiculous. Like, I'm just sick of it. And I just wanted to bring this to you because, people don't like to admit that these are the issues, but this is the issue. So, I was like, I almost deleted all of your comments before I realized that this is something that actually definitely needs a response. I blocked you all of those years ago for reasons that were divulged to you, as I always inform people of why I have disconnected, because I feel that that is the best thing to do. I inform you that because of you constantly following and unfollowing me within a short period of time, I disconnected. You have known for years, and apparently you've held on to it like a grudge and waited for an opportunity to try to gang up on me with other people, but that's not how this works. Since you want to put your business out there, then I will air you out along with anyone else who you mentioned. The problems that people have with people like you are that you have no respect for people who are black. If you had respect for my race of people, especially my ethnicity as a foundational black American, then you would not have put forth half of the things that I had to delete from this comment section. Claiming that a word that's used to demean my race is indefensible or is defensible for use by anyone else because we're so affected by the word and its history in our culture that we have tried to make it into something owned and positive amongst ourselves is one of the most racist things that a person can do. But you somehow have obfuscated from the point of this post, which is to defend black people and ask for better relations while people dip and dabble in our culture, and made it about how me blocking you is racist just because of the simple fact that you're claiming to be Indian. But black people do too much, huh? Your privilege can be seen And the fact that the one comment that I left up of yours is even able to be posted by you when it includes profanity without any deviations from the usual spelling. Black people get banned for less, while the entire app is allowed to use the N word. How is it that the things that we do that are not the most beneficial to our people are always touted by these racist platforms, but the things that uplift us are not? You're even showing that you don't mind a black person being banned for asking people not to use a word that is meant to dehumanize us. Trying to accuse me of dehumanizing an Indian. It just goes to show that you all have so much care for everyone else's culture except black people's. There are so many things that Latinos call each other in their culture on a regular basis. But black people do too much. The only one who needs to look into the mirror is the one who's so obsessed with me that she is in my comment section disguised as someone else after years and years of our relationship being over. It seems that you can't get over that one time that I informed you that I didn't like what you did in a song that we were supposed to be doing together. Soon after that, you started following and unfollowing me until I finally blocked your ass. Your judgmental ass also tried to call one of my most religious songs demonic, and you wonder why we don't have a relationship. The real problem with you and yours is that you're nosy and hypocritically disrespectful. It is beyond wicked to put yourself in another culture's business and purport to inform them of what is and is not offensive to their people. We don't do that to Native Americans, Chinese people, Jewish people, other black people throughout the diaspora, or anyone else. But the entire world feels entitled to tell black people what to do and when to do it, how to feel and when to feel it. That's no more. It's also not lost on me that you tried to turn me against a woman who is beloved throughout the lab and who passed just after I was able to apologize for taking your side in a matter about which I knew nothing. So, it's just funny to me because, this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. Like, you of all people, like, number one, you completely ruin your argument when you tried to claim that me disconnecting from you, an Indian woman allegedly, is somehow isolating and racist. So it's not racist for you to use a word that's literally racist against my people. But me not wanting to talk with you anymore or make music, I'm able to be called racist for that? After I made music with you and was offended by you and decided to disconnect? So I'm racist for just disconnecting from you. Just because you happen to be an Indian woman. Even though that had nothing to do with why I disconnected from you. But I'm not able to call out racism when people use words that are literally racist against my race of people. Y'all, I'm out.